The Mavericks get a big win at home over the Thunder to break their 3-game losing streak. We'll break it all down coming up next on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. Hey, what's up, DLLS Mavs Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks analyst Bobby Carella. We are DLLS Mavs, your favorite guys, coming your favorite team every single game night. The Dallas Mavericks break their 3-game losing streak, getting a 106-98 win over the Oklahoma City Thunder, snapping their 4-game winning streak as the Mavericks get a much-needed win at the American Airlines Center. We'll break it all down here for you coming up over the next hour. We'll have our Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato joining us live from the American Airlines Center, plus our national NBA insider Marc Stein doing the same as well. Really appreciate all of you joining us here on DLLS Sports. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel while you're here, and do the same for our podcast wherever you get your podcast for free. I already see you in there, Luke. I see you, Tanner. I see you, Marc. I see you all in there celebrating a Mavericks win, Bobby, a much-needed win, as the Mavericks defense was able to do just enough, holding the Thunder to under 100 points tonight, and they get a big win even at the time that they needed to against the Thunder.
Undomax 100 max tonight for the Mavs defense. And that's what we've said, dude. This is exactly what we've said. Kyrie was back tonight, but even so, how many times have we sat here over the last couple weeks and said the Mavs have to try and win 104-99?
Got to hold them under 100.
That is what they're going to have to try and do all the time. They win this one 106-98, which is cool, but they get into these shootouts with teams without Luka and without Lively, and tonight they barely had Daniel Gafford. He was in foul trouble the whole second half. Like, you're down so many guys, down Jaden Hardy. You cannot afford to get in a back-and-forth shootout, end-to-end kind of game. You have to keep this thing low-scoring. You have to come up with stops, and they got just enough of them tonight. I thought that was a great game. That was a great NBA game, and I almost posted about it with like 4.5 minutes left. Like, man, this has been a lot of fun. Half an hour later, there was about 3.5 minutes left in the game, so I'm glad that I didn't do it. But that was a great game, dude. That was an awesome game and a great win for a team that needed a win any way they could get it, and to get it against the best team in the West makes it even better.
Yeah, they needed a win in the worst possible way. In what was a game full of runs, the Mavericks used what was a 22-4 run to get up by 20 at halftime, 63-43. By the time we got to the near end of the third quarter, the Oklahoma City Thunder had erased that 20-point lead. In fact, they had went on a 26-6 run to be able to get the game tied. And then, obviously, the Mavericks down the stretch. Spencer Dinwiddie hit back-to-back threes, including the dagger with 54 seconds to go. In fact, Klay Thompson hit the go-ahead three-pointer for the Mavericks. Check this out. With 7.5 minutes left in the game, the Mavericks were able to hold on down the stretch to get some big buckets from Naji Marshall, from Spencer Dinwiddie as well. Kyrie Irving, who missed the game against the Pelicans, he was back tonight. He had 25 big points. P.J. Washington in this game had 16.7 rebounds, 5 assists, and what was at times a weird game with the amount of time that James Washington had FaceTime during the game, the official tonight for tonight's game. But at the same time, the Mavericks were the ones that were able to keep their composure down the stretch, as Spencer Dinwiddie mentioned during the postgame, and they were the ones coming out on the right side of this win against the Thunder tonight.
Yeah, leave a like for P.J. Washington. Leave a like for Naji Marshall. Leave a like for catch and shoot Spencer Dinwiddie.
Catch and shoot Spencer Dinwiddie.
Catch and shoot Spencer Dinwiddie is a good player. He is a good player, and we've said probably the single hardest people on Spencer Dinwiddie and Mavs Mediadom are sitting right here on your screen. Your favorite guys covering your least favorite player. But tonight, Dinwiddie being able to play alongside Kyrie, whenever he's on the floor with Kyrie, allows him to spot up and become that kind of guy. And he is such a better shooter and such a bigger threat with the ball in those situations. So leave a like for him. Leave a like for Kyrie. How about Maxi Kleber? He only goes 2 for 7. He missed all 4 of his threes, but he had a couple big buckets right around the rim. He ended the game with 4 assists. He had 2 blocks. No Lively. Gafford in foul trouble for virtually the entire second half. Completely cost me my sleeper pick, which Daniel will talk later. But
hell, even Dwight Powell left the game with a hip injury.
And dude, God, the hits keep coming.
Yeah.
But Maxi had to play a ton of the second half. And I mean, lest we forget, KG, the Thunder on the second night of a back-to-back tonight. But this was the Mavs' 4th game in 6 days. Their 3rd game in 4 nights. Like, these guys have been through the ringer lately. And I mean, it takes a little more energy to get off the floor whenever you're in those situations. And bodies kept hitting the floor. And, they kept getting back up. And like you said, composure is just as much mental as it is emotional and as it is physical and as it is technical. And in a game like this, where it's just like an all-out brawl and guys are shoving each other and pushing each other and banging their head on the floor and leaving the game hurt, and there's reviews and there's all sorts of angst in the gym, you really had to demonstrate that composure in a setting where you're already really exhausted. And so really, really quality win for the Mavs, given those circumstances too.
Yeah, a lot of stoppage in play tonight in terms of reviews. There were flopping technicals, regular technicals, flagrants. There was mini scraps. There was a lot going on in tonight's game, and you give the Mavericks credit. And this has honestly turned into a real rivalry. You'll see these two teams again less than a week from now during NBA Rivals Week next week. So, of course, meeting in the playoffs last year, these two teams don't necessarily like each other. P.J. Washington standing on business once again in the game tonight, and the Mavericks were the ones that were able to come out with the win tonight. 2 numbers that stick out immediately from tonight's game, Bobby. 22-2. That is what the Dallas Mavericks had in terms of an advantage over the Oklahoma City Thunder in fast break points. They were a plus 20 in the fast break point department. And the other number for me, the number 29 and the number 15, the Mavericks had 29 points off of 15 Thunder turnovers tonight, getting out in the fast break, getting out in transition, but also converting when able to get turnovers on the Thunder, which is something that the Thunder love to do against their opponent. The Mavericks were able to turn that around tonight and really take advantage of some opportunities when they were able to turn the Thunder over.
The Mavs defense has to set up their offense.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like this game really validated all the things that we've been
bemoaning
of the things
we've been
for weeks
saying.
now.
Yes.
Like, you have to get stops, get turnovers, and get out and run. Again, you have Kyrie, but the Thunder have an elite defense with a capital ELITE. Like, this is an incredible defensive team. And really, your only way to consistently create quality looks against them is by running, by taking a 4-on-3 or 3-on-2 or a 2-on-1, and by trying to finish at the rim over these guys. Because while they're very athletic, they're all really small. And so if Naji and PJ and Kyrie are running a 3-man fast break, Kyrie's going to give the ball up to someone that has a serious height advantage going to the rim. And the Mavs were 8 of 9 on field goals coming on the fast break in this game. So they got out and they ran and they took advantage of all those opportunities. I think the one miss was a Kyrie pull-up 3, which, hey, those are awesome when they go in, so I'm never going to complain about him missing one of those. They were on a mission. Like, they were trying to get out and run every chance they could. There were times in the first half, whenever things were going their way, where they were running off of makes, too, just pushing it all the time. And when this team is at its best, they're doing that over and over and over again, because it is infinitely harder to score against a set defense than it is a defense that's not set.
And give the Mavericks credit for the way that they were able to come out with their intensity. In this game alone, interesting statistic, 7 runs of at least 8 unanswered points in this game, a game full of runs, whether it was the first quarter, the second quarter. In fact, the Thunder had 43 points in the first half. The Mavericks scored 41 points in the second quarter alone to build what was that 20-point lead. Then the Thunder come out with that 26-6 run. It was just a lot of runs up and down the floor. And to your credit about mentioning how great of a game it was, some of the shot making in this game, especially from the Thunder to begin that third quarter where they made their first 5 threes to cut what was a 20-point deficit down to 5, it felt like, in a matter of minutes. The Mavericks responded with some timely shot making. Klay Thompson with a big shot. Maxi Kleber, you mentioned, with an and one. That was a big shot in this game. Let us know how you're feeling in the chat as well. I see a lot of comments already about P.J. Washington, who, again, we put our player spotlight on him during the pregame show about how well he has played against the Thunder this year. In that first game, had 27 and 17. Again tonight, bringing a needed attitude and physicality and doing a little bit of everything with the 16, 7, and 5 assists that he had. Again, proving against this team, he rises to the occasion, and they needed some of his playmaking tonight. But more so than anything, just the presence, the physicality, and a little bit of attitude to really keep this team in it, to let Oklahoma City know, even without SGA, this was not going to be the same kind of night, and then looking for a win against them.
Yeah, I mean, the Mavs are the bigger team. You know, this wasn't quite it really was nothing like whenever the Mavs went to OKC and beat them. In that game, it was just, let's just throw garbage up and get the rebound every time and just keep it in. You know, that was really like the purest version of bully ball I've ever seen in my life. Tonight was a different kind of bully ball. Tonight felt kind of like a throwback game. Tonight felt like a game from like 2004 or 2002 or something, where it's just bruising. It's just imposing. I am bigger than you, and I'm also going to be a little dirty sometimes. There were some hard fouls. There was some shoving before and after the whistle. There was a little bit of taunting. There was standing near and over guys. There was a little bit of everything, you know, and like that
way too much face time for James Washington.
That goes back to what you said, man. Like, they don't like each other.
They don't.
I think that's awesome. That's awesome. It's great to have rivals. It's fun to hate Lou Dort. It's fun for them to hate PJ Washington. Like, this is great.
Yeah.
This is good for basketball. This is good for the NBA. It's awesome, as long as it doesn't
cross the line.
Like, I thought the PJ foul on Jalen Williams, where he got hit with the flagrant one, that was definitely a flagrant foul. It was obviously much worse because Jalen Williams banged his head on the floor, and that's a scary play. You don't ever want to see guys hit their head on the floor like that. But it was just a good hard foul. It was a flagrant foul.
It was.
And they correctly deemed it a flagrant foul. But, like, that's a hard foul, man. There's nothing dirty about it. He knocked the crap out of him.
He was going to make sure.
Unfortunately, it led to something really bad. Yeah. But, like, that's the kind of stuff to expect when these teams play. There was a flopping tech 3 minutes into the game. Like,
in fact, Dort got 2 flopping techs in this game.
Yeah, these guys just don't like each other. They don't like each other. It's awesome. I think it's incredible. I think it's really, really fun.
To your point, that came in the second quarter in terms of the PJ Washington, Aaron Wiggins exchange. Of course, they were both assessed double technical fouls. Lou Dort and PJ Washington, they got tangled up. PJ stood, quote unquote, stood over Lou Dort. He was assessed a technical foul. Wiggins then pushed him. It was just a lot of jawing, a lot of physicality. But to your point, hey, we like this kind of stuff in the league. Kind of a throwback, as you mentioned, in terms of the way these two teams get down with each other. And this is why when these two teams play, it's a lot of fun. And these two teams, for some reason, always have big runs against each other. Even when the Mavericks had that big comeback, what was it, a year or two ago at the American Airlines Center? And
yeah, it was a 30-0 run.
30-0 run, yeah. These two teams, for some reason, find a way to have big runs against each other.
It's like TNT. They know drama.
Oh, that's a throwback TNT line.
And that they were saying that back whenever apparently every team played like this all the time.
Right, exactly. We know drama. That's a good throwback. Look at you.
Yeah. And I feel like going back to that game. So that game, it was a year-ish ago. It was, I think it was January of 2020. I think it was January of 2024. Yeah. Right around a year ago. The Thunder go on a huge run in the third quarter. They go up like 25. And then the Mavs start the fourth quarter on a 30-0 run.
That was
30-0 run.
Yeah,
it spanned like 10 minutes. Like it was.
It looked like it would never end.
Never seen anything like it in my entire life. 30-0 run, and they still lose the game. They take the lead by 5. OKC calls like their 5th timeout of the run. I thought timeout stop runs, by the way, but apparently it didn't.
No.
They call like their 4th or 5th timeout of the run. They come out, score. Mavs miss, they score. Mavs miss, they score. Mavs miss, they score, and it's game over. Just like that. It's like, oh my God, like the rug got pulled out from underneath their feet.
Because they ended it like on like a 15-2 or something. It was something crazy like that.
Very bizarre, but like that is the NBA, and so for the Mavs, like everybody was just mauling whenever the Mavs blew that 20-point lead in the third quarter, but it was tied in the second quarter. Like it went from 37-37 to 63-43 to like 74-74 or something.
Yes.
And like, so 37-37 to 74-74. That's it. It's a great game. Nothing happened in between. No, like that's how it is, man. In the NBA, there's such wild swings. And so that's why composure, that word that Dinwiddie used, I mean, that's so important because you're going to be on the receiving end of a 20-0 run. You're going to be on the giving end of a 20-0 run, but it doesn't matter. All that matters is the next play.
And all that matters tonight is the Mavericks get a win at home, a much-needed one with the 106-98 win to take out the Oklahoma City Thunder, snapping their 3-game losing streak. Let's take our first break here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. When we come back, the turning point of tonight's game. Plus, we'll get to your super chats as well, Ardell, coming up next here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. But much like tonight at the AAC, it's game time right here on the DLLS Mavs post-game show. If you love going to sporting events, concerts, if you love going to any kind of event, you got to use Game Time to get your tickets. Monday Night Raw coming to the American Airlines Center on Monday. I'm taking my wife and my daughter for their wrestling event extravaganza, and Game Time helped me get my tickets with all-in pricing, so I knew exactly what I was going to pay before I checked out. Plus, I got panoramic seat views, so I knew exactly where I was going to sit before I purchased my tickets as well. And they got the lowest price guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. They also got Game Time ticket coverage, so your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time, and your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So if you want to take the guesswork out of buying your tickets, you got to do so with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DLLS for $20 off your first purchase. Remember, terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DLLS for $20 off. Download Game Time today for your last-minute tickets. Lowest price guarantee. What time is it, Bobby?
Game time. Who? Rugged Road is dedicated to creating innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who demand the best. Their products are designed with the highest quality materials and craftsmanship, ensuring they perform in the toughest conditions. KG, go ahead and bang on that for me real quick. Oh, my God, and it holds up just fine.
That's right.
Whether you're on land or water or in the DLLS Sports Studio, Rugged Road gear is built to accompany you on every adventure. They can float. They're lightweight, but they're still very sturdy. Unlike other heavy-duty coolers, these things are really easy to carry, but they're going to hold up under pressure. Crafted to handle the toughest environments, their coolers are built to last. They're perfect for a variety of outdoor activities, from fishing and tubing to camping and tailgating. These coolers are designed to meet the needs of every outdoor or sports enthusiast. So gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road coolers. Reliable, durable, and built to be used, Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. Head to Rugged Road Outdoors, again, ruggedroadoutdoors.com, and use code DLLS for 10% off.
Mavs improved to 23-19 on the season, winning their first game of the proverbial second half with their 106-98 win over the Oklahoma City Thunder, as the Mavericks got what was 14 points from Naji Marshall. Spencer Dinwiddie with 16 points, including the dagger three-pointer with 54 seconds left, as the Mavericks snapped their three-game losing streak. Coming up in our next segment, we'll have our Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato joining us live from the American Airlines Center. Before we get to our turning point of tonight's game, let's get to Ardell's super chat. I see my man in there already contributing on the night. He's got the $5.25 super chat. Quote, PJ
25.
Washington.
Ooh.
I see the 25 in there.
Yeah.
PJ Washington is my favorite player. He sets a tone for the team's defense and rebounding. I heard, what was it?
Love's Truck Stop.
That's just what I heard. I was picking up what you're putting down, Ardell. And look, man, you're talking to the PJ Washington guy on the show here, the guy that covers him the most, it feels like at this point. But at the same time, a much-needed attitude. I think more so than the points, the rebounds, the assists, the presence at which he plays the game with. You can kind of argue that he's the heart and soul of this team with the way that he plays, and the team feeds off of that. Yes, Luka is the superstar. Kyrie is the secondary star. But the way that this team goes about their business and how they derive their attitude, their physicality, and focus at times, you got to give PJ Washington a lot of credit for that. And that came up big tonight when they needed to be able to deliver the attitude that they needed.
I think a lot of people feel the way that Ardell does. Like, so many people just love PJ. He's been here for less than a year.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't even been on the team for a full season. I'm curious, of the non-Luka, non-Kyrie Mavs, who's your favorite player on the team? I'm assuming a lot of people are going to say PJ, especially after a game like this. But I think I agree, man. PJ is just tough. He's so confident. Like, he's got such a big head, dude. He is so, so arrogant. But it's awesome. Like, and he backs it up. Like, it really feels like, you know, there are some guys that are going to be tough, and then whenever PJ Washington and Naji Marshall start coming your way, you're going to like backpedal the way that Yusuf Nurkic did. And then there's guys that are going to step toward the 7-foot monster as he's walking toward you, and that's PJ.
Yeah.
You know, like whenever the temperature rises, PJ's ready to go, dude. It's like he almost like wants it to happen.
No, he does. And I think he relishes this rivalry. Like, you could tell that he's embraced what this rivalry means to him, the way that he played last year in the playoffs against the Thunder, having a breakout series in that series against the Thunder in the West semis, carrying it over to this year with the 27-17 that he had in the win in Oklahoma City. Tonight, with some big plays, standing on business once again, he embraces what this rivalry means, and you need that even when you've got superstars like Luka and Kyrie, guys that are willing to do the dirty work. Would you like him to be a little more efficient around the 5-foot area? Sure, but he knocked down a couple of big shots tonight from 3 as well to give them the overall game that he needed to be able to help them win this team. And when you're missing a superstar in Oklahoma City, they were able to make their runs in this game, but P.J. Washington, along with Spencer Dinwiddie and others, were able to have their composure to win this game.
So Francel, I'll read it. All right. Francel chips in with the super chat. Thank you, Francel, for that. Yeah, go ahead and put it up. So Thunder Reddit hates PJ Washington. Very unpopular place for our friend PJ Washington. They made a quote F*** CK PJ post filled with tears. Let me hear you say OKC, but it's not it's something else that rhymes with O.
In your Kendrick Lamar voice. I see what you're doing there. I'm not going to lie to you. I like what you're doing there, Francel.
Oh, my God. Dude, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Shout out to you for the $5 super chat.
Thank you.
Francel. But, man.
But, dude, it's all, look, okay,
that's the way it's supposed to be, though.
Yes.
When you've got good rivalry, this is the way it's supposed to be.
Yes. No, for sure. And you know, here's the other thing. Here's why this matters so much. Why what PJ Washington does matter so much. Luka, now everybody knows like Luka is insane.
Yes.
Right? Like Luka's down for whatever temperature the game is going to be played at. But for a really, really long time, that wasn't the case around here. You know, Dirk was a tough MF. Dirk Nowitzki is one of the toughest players to ever play basketball. But the Mavs had a reputation for much of his career. In fact, I would say almost all of his career, that you could kind of push him around.
A little finesse.
Dirk and Jet and Devin and even later J-Kid. J-Kid's a little older, and Sean Marion is like kind of tough, but he's a little older, and Tyson Chandler's just kind of a journeyman guy, and Eric Dampier's sort of soft. Shaq can beat him up, and even before that, Steve Nash and Michael Finley, Nick Van Exel, they want to shoot, they don't want to defend, they don't want to get in the trenches. You know, that's not the case with this team. Like, this team is full of maniacs.
Dogs.
Like, PJ
PJ a dog.
Dude, Daniel Gafford is down to do whatever needs to be done. Derek Lively is. Luka is like all the time unhinged.
Yes.
Like Luka's like, you know, a 2.2 magnitude earthquake away from losing his last screw. Like, this team is ready for that too, you know. And again, they're bigger than a lot of teams. You know, and so whenever a game takes on kind of this sort of physical tone that this one did, hey, I'm taking the Mavs.
Yeah, and tonight in a game full of runs that we saw, the toughness, the mental toughness that the Mavericks were able to display. And look, even give OKC a lot of credit. Getting down by 20 at halftime, they could have easily just folded up tonight as well and said, you know what, we're on the second night of a back-to-back. We're not going to necessarily worry about it. But they fought back to tie the game after what was a 26-6 run. But you fast forward to the fourth quarter, the Mavericks were able to start what was a 6-0 run. Actually, it was an 8-0 run if you go back to the end of the third quarter as well. So they're up 83-76 with 10:30 left. The Thunder then respond again with a 7-0 run themselves to tie it back up at 83. But Klay Thompson hits a three with 7.5 minutes left to make it 86-83, which wound up being the actual go-ahead bucket of the game, even with 7.5 minutes left. The Mavericks led 89-85 with 6 minutes left after a Maxey and one. Nice bounce pass, a tough bounce pass by Kyrie Irving, tough catch by Maxey. He was able to get the bucket and finish with the and one as well to get the lead back to 4. And then I want to get your thoughts on this because Naji Marshall's been struggling a little bit from the three-point line, struggling a little bit with his scoring at times, but he had 6 straight points, including a three-pointer that gave the Mavericks what was a 95-91 lead, and some big shot making from him to really kind of steady things for the Mavericks in the last 3 or 4 minutes of the game. I thought Naji Marshall's sequence there was big for Dallas in the fourth quarter.
Real quick, I want to Fred Sanford in the chat. Great comment. My coaches told me if you have a locker room full of dogs, even the cats start barking. Dude, absolutely. Absolutely. That's the thing. Like, you have a bunch of tough dudes. Everyone is tougher. Yeah. They say, you know, you put one aggressive fish in the fishbowl and everyone starts swimming a little faster. But what if there are 7 aggressive fish in the fishbowl? Everyone's going to be swimming for their lives all the time.
Yeah.
You know, like, And let's see how far they can take it, right? Rick Carlisle said they can't all be milk drinkers, but I said they can't all not be. Like, you need
That's
some
right.
milk drinkers
You
too
need some, yes.
to balance it out, but we'll see. But Naji.
Yeah.
So Harp on the broadcast had an astute point, I thought. So they'd started doubling Kyrie, and the ball was having to move a little bit, and things were getting kind of stagnant, but they seemed like the Mavs are figuring it out a little bit. So you play the same kind of defense 3, 4, 5 trips in a row, and everyone's going to kind of get the rhythm of what's going on, know what to expect. And there were a couple times throughout the game when they would double Kyrie, the ball would kind of zing to the corner of the wing, and it would just be like hot potato back and forth. Like, I don't want to shoot it. You do it. And then it's like, oh, your advantage is gone now. But after they'd done this 3, 4, 5 times in a row, Naji's in the corner. Maxey pops out to the wing. Kyrie swings it to him. They're doubling off Maxey. Naji's man rotate. Maxey swings it to Naji because he knows his man is going to rotate because they've done it 3, 4, 5 times in a row. Naji knows whenever they do this, I'm going to get the shot, so his feet are already set. He's already seeing the rim. He's already getting into his motion, and it just looked really confident. Like, it looked really smooth. It looked like he wanted to shoot. There have been so many guys on this team, Naji included, even at times tonight, that don't want to take open shots. They're just a little spooked, or they're seeing ghosts, or maybe they're lacking confidence. They've missed a couple in a row, and they don't want to take this next one. But Naji wanted the next one. And then he sees that one goes in. And then, they got Caruso, I think. It was guarding Kyrie. And Isaiah Joe picked up Naji. And Kyrie went to go screen for Naji to try and get the switch. Joe onto Kyrie, but the Thunder fought through. So now it's Joe on Naji. And Naji said, all right, I'll take it. Goes all the way to the rim and scores.
Yeah.
So you have to find your spots to be aggressive. You don't ever want to do too much, but you do have to take the fight to these guys. But I thought really like going back to that Kyrie bounce pass to Maxey, that is a play that nobody on the team could have made the other night in New Orleans. Like that,
agreed.
No one on the team can make that pass. And that is an example where having a really gifted basketball player on your team just makes things possible. So I said on the last postgame show, whenever you're down so many of these guys, everything becomes harder. Bringing it up the floor becomes harder. Getting into a set becomes harder. Making reads becomes harder. Creating open shots becomes harder. Making shots becomes harder. But whenever Kyrie was on the floor tonight, you saw how many open looks they got. You saw how many reads he was able to make. You saw how the ball was zinging around. You saw how guys were scoring around the basket. Guys were getting open threes. Everything was just a little bit easier with Kyrie on the floor, and that's even against a great defense.
And for the Mavericks, they got some timely shot making, whether it was Kyrie Irving, whether it was Klay Thompson, whether it was Spencer Dinwiddie. There were some key shots and some big moments, and they needed every bit of one of those to go in. I was saying during the game as well, I'm sure Bobby Herbie said, look, it feels like the first one to 100 is going to win tonight's game. And the Mavericks were the first one to get to 100 tonight.
The only one.
Yeah, the only one to get to 100.
No yellow card.
It's tonight's game to be able to get the win. Let's get to Tanner's super chat.
Let's go, Tanner.
Shout out to Tanner with the
other
Tanner.
Chat Tanner.
Yeah, Chat Tanner with the $5 super chat.
Super chat Tanner.
Guys, this team is special. The chemistry is elite, and when Luka comes back, it's over for the league. Hashtag MFFL for life. Don't give up, y'all.
Dude, winning a game, you feel like you're going to live forever.
You're on top of the world. You're on top of the world.
Sports it's the only thing in the world that feels like this. Like everybody wanted to, I think everyone kind of secretly wanted the NBA to go out of business like 48 hours ago. And here we are 48 hours later. And I agree with you, Tanner. Mavs all the way. Who's gonna beat them? Who's going to beat them?
Well, look, the win tonight was huge because not only do you find a way to get a win against the number one team in the West, you needed this win for some confidence. Obviously, going into a difficult stretch, you've got Charlotte on Monday on Martin Luther King Day. Then your next 3 games are against Minnesota, Oklahoma City, and Boston. To be able to get a win, and now you're going to see the same team again less than a week from now. Any win that you can get at this time without Luka Doncic, at times without Kyrie Irving, without Derek Lively. Jaden Hardy left this game as well with an ankle injury. Dwight Powell left this game with a hip injury. The injury adversity that this team has gone through this year has been crazy. I'm not to say that other teams in the league aren't going through it, but the Mavericks have been going through it in a number of ways at a variety of times, and they're still at times finding ways to get a win. And when you're 2-8 in your last 10, I don't care. You don't apologize for a win like this, even without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who, of course, is the leading MVP candidate. You take these wins where you can get them because the more you can get, the better it's going to be by the time your superstar
Never
comes
apologize.
back. You never apologize.
Shea was
for a
out,
win.
but so was Luka.
Yeah.
Hardenstein was out, so was Lively. Chet was out. I mean, Hardy and Powell don't equal Chet. I guess Chet could be Lively in this example. Hardenstein could be somebody like Gafford was in foul trouble. Gafford played like 2 minutes in the second half. Like no Gafford, no Powell, no Hardy in the second half, no Luka at all. Fourth game in 6 nights. Kyrie is like hunchback of Notre Dame running up the floor. Like he is very clearly favoring his back. Never, ever, 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 ever apologize for a win. I don't care who you're playing against, especially whenever your best guy's out.
Yeah, and the Mavericks definitely took it tonight to be able to snap that 3-game losing streak as they get ready to take on the Charlotte Hornets. They'll have the next couple of days before they travel to Charlotte. Let's take our next break here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. When we come back, we'll welcome in our Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato live from the American Airlines Center, get his postgame thoughts on tonight's win as well. Plus, we'll hear from what was said at the press conferences as well. All that and more coming up next year on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. But let me talk to you about FOCO. You got to get fitted out in the best sports gear around, and you got to go to FOCO to do it. They got hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, and everything in between. In fact, my wife and my daughter got me a pair of FOCO Dallas Cowboys Crocs for Christmas. I'll have to bring those in so you guys can see them.
They use that promo code?
They did use a promo code.
Nice.
Yeah, you can get 10% off your order, and they were able to use it to be able to get me my nice Cowboys Crocs. About the only thing positive from the Cowboys so far this year was those Crocs that I got. If you go into a basketball game or a hockey game, you can show off your love with team-branded friendship bracelets, whether it's jackets, beachwear, or in my case, Crocs. There's something for fans for almost every occasion. They even got set decorations like you see some here on set behind us here. You can see them right here on set. FOCO's donated a few of those awesome pieces for us on our set, so make sure you go show them some love. So check out FOCO.com or click the link in the description as you see it on your screen below for all non-presale items and use the code DLLS10 for 10% off. Shout out to FOCO for my Cowboys Crocs.
Started by 2 college bros, Saturday Neon makes officially licensed collegiate logo LED neon signs perfect for your home, office, dorm room, fan cave, or bar. They have more than 50 of the biggest schools across the country for only $75 in their new Essentials collection. They got Texas, A&M, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, not Baylor, not UTD yet.
Sorry, Tanner.
But that's why you got to keep going to their website to refresh to find out whenever they add more to their collection. Unlike traditional neon, these LED signs won't break or shatter, but they still give you that classic uniform glow that you know and love. These last up to 100,000 hours.
It's a long time.
That's more than 11 years, Kevin.
Longer than James Washington's reviews tonight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They're super easy to install using the provided hardware or 3M command strips. They're low voltage, so they don't get hot. They're always safe to the touch, which is great, especially if you have kiddos. Head over to SaturdayNeon.com and use code DLLS for 10% off your favorite sign.
Mavericks get the 106-98 win at home over the American Airlines Center over the Oklahoma City Thunder. As the Thunder were on a 4-game winning streak, that has snapped the Mavericks snapping their 3-game losing streak to improve to 23-19 on the season.
We got another super chat right as we went into break too.
After 42 games. Before we get to our guy Tim Cato, let's take a look at that super chat and read that real quick. Where did it go? Here he is. There we go. Say, shout out to Sarah.
Shout
with
out
the
Sarah.
$5.25 super chat. Another shout out to PJ Washington. Let's go, PJ Washington, the undisputed king of Oklahoma. Good show, by the way.
It's just the truth.
You ever seen the show Tulsa King? It's a good show. Starring
Is that what that's in reference to?
No. I was just saying.
Oh, okay.
She said undisputed king of Oklahoma. It made me think of the show Tulsa King starring Sylvester Stallone.
It's true until someone knocks him off the throne.
It's a good show.
All right. Maybe the Thunder will duck the Mavs in the playoffs this year. Who knows?
Speaking of dunks real quick, shout out to Omax Prosper tonight. Had a couple of thunderous dunks. Speaking of thunder, thunderous dunks tonight. So shout out to Omax. He even knocked down a 3-pointer actually as well. So your boy Omax.
Solid game from Omax.
Solid game from Omax Prosper. We'll make
he also airballed a 3, but that was an accident.
You really were messing that out.
He did not do that on purpose.
The good things from Omax.
He did not mean to do that.
He did not.
I asked him about it.
You did?
No.
Okay. 2 great dunks, great 3-pointer. Shout out to Omax Prosper. Good game for him tonight. Let's bring in our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato, live from the American Airlines Center. You can find him on X at Tim_Cato. Mavericks get a big win tonight, Tim. A much-needed win against Oklahoma City. Your thoughts on what was said after tonight's game during the post-game pressers.
Well, I have Naji Marshall quotes to bring y'all.
Oh my God! Okay,
Are
Of course,
you guys
he's tweeting after
interested?
the game. What did he have to say?
No. He already did his press conference. This is
Oh,
delivered
okay.
live
These are actual words
to the media. So
Okay.
he was asked a couple times just about like a lot of the chatter, and he said just the all of that grittiness comes from the competitiveness. But somebody was like, I saw you kind of pull Kyrie away from the scrum after PJ Washington's flagrant one. Somebody and he was asked like, what was he saying? Naji says it's just basketball talk. He told him he liked his shoes. There's another moment where Naji was talking to the bench. He got asked about that. He said he told them, "Good afternoon, happy holidays."
Aw.
And
all right, Naji.
So-
all right.
You don't believe him?
The
no,
holidays.
you don't
been
believe
over.
he said that?
The holiday's been over. We gotta relax here.
You know,
don't
honestly,
think-
that's true.
Like, come on, man.
The afternoon's been over too. So maybe he's just behind on stuff.
It could
way
be.
behind.
Honestly, it could be.
Somebody also asked him about the Pelicans game, specifically his very good friend Trey Murphy. He said Trey's not honorable. That was his reaction to the goaltend that led to a loss for Dallas. So wanted to bring those quotes to you first.
I love the fact
Beyond
that Naji Marshall sent that tweet to him about, you would be the honorable guy, saying, hey, I actually did touch the ball.
I
One
would
out
do
of-
that.
Yeah.
I would absolutely do that.
And Naji sent that particular tweeted video to Trey Murphy. That was hilarious.
Yeah. Beyond that, I mean, great win for Dallas. Jason Kidd called it a character win. He thought it was really impressive how the team stayed the course even after the third quarter run that OKC got back into it. It was looking rocky there for a few moments, but yeah, Jason Kidd really talked up Naji as you would expect. He said his second halves have been great of late. He mentioned that maybe they're going to look to see why they're not getting him going earlier in the game. He also shouted out Omax. He was asked about Omax, but then he said Jason Kidd thought the play of the game was Omax turning down 2 threes, and then it was a possession where he ended up with the offensive rebound. So it was a drive, it was a redrive, and then still stayed involved in the play. Maybe passed up a couple too many threes tonight from Omax, but I will echo what you guys said, that I thought overall he had a positive impact on the basketball game.
He played small ball 5 for a little bit in the second half, to varying degrees of success. But I mean, Gafford is in foul trouble. Dwight Powell leaves with a hip injury. Is there any more information on that, first off? But also, like, it's kind of good that Omax has gotten some playing time lately, because depending on how long Lively's out for, and also do you have an update on that? So that's number 2. And number 3 is Omax might become a regular part of their rotation, like
Out of
necessity.
There was no update on Dwight Powell, but Jaden Hardy, I mean, again, no real update. Jason Kidd said he hoped it wasn't serious. So he likened it to, I think aptly, the same cycle that Jaden Hardy just went through, where Hardy was playing well, gets injured, comes back, takes a little bit, eases into things just like he did to start the season, and then finally playing well, boom, injured again. So bummer on both fronts, but Derek Lively at least looks, I mean, he's been walking around the building all night. He looks totally fine. He's not on crutches or anything like that. So hopefully, even though a couple players are going out, you've got a couple players, at least one player, and maybe Exum on the horizon coming back in.
Just a weird game in some respects. I mean, James Washington's FaceTime that he got tonight was a little too much for my liking. But at the same time, a lot of physicality, 2 flopping technicals. Shout out to Lou Dort. A flagrant for PJ. Double technicals at one point assessed to Washington and Aaron Wiggins, who eventually fouled out in this game. Just a lot of just starting and stopping and some weird stuff. What was your take on just the overall flow of the game at times, the amount of stoppages, but some of the calls that led to what we saw in terms of some of these moments in tonight's game?
Yeah, I thought for a second that they might call a flagrant 2 on PJ Washington. It helps that his dad was refereeing, so maybe some bias there. But I thought that this was very typical of the Oklahoma City Dallas games that we've seen throughout. This is a team that is quickly learning to dislike each other. I think, I mean, it's just like anytime you put two teams into a very hotly competitive environment, like that playoff series, it's going to happen. And quite frankly, if I was, a fan of a team, a fan of an opposing team playing against PJ Washington, he's probably someone I would dislike as well. Like, I get where it's coming from, but you need those types of guys. You need people who are very, hard nosed, who won't take, crap, and just, I mean, it's important. So, on the flip side, as an NBA enjoyer, I think this is awesome. I think the NBA should do whatever they need to hype up this, this rivalry that's growing between these teams, because it's awesome. It's a lot of fun. This is something that the NBA should be proud of, that should be encouraging, and really making sure they, that it is seen as something significant within the league. So I think it's awesome.
Well, guess what, Tim? They've got a week for you coming up this coming week.
Whole week of Mavs Thunder.
Week of Rivals Week coming up. If you haven't seen the commercials, it is Rivals Week in the NBA. The Mavericks, of course, will take on the Timberwolves,
right,
the
but
Thunder.
This one's better than all those.
Say it again.
Every game should be Thunder Mavericks.
7 straight days.
It does feel like these
7
two
straight
teams are
days.
like destined to fight each other for forever, which, I mean, if we're going to continue to get games like this and what we've seen in the postseason, or what we saw earlier in the year with PJ going for 27 and 17, I mean, I don't mind it. the physicality, the trash talk, the high-level play, especially when both of these teams are healthy. It's a lot of fun basketball to watch. And one of the things about rivalries that you love about them is when they're genuine. This is a genuine rivalry that has naturally developed through success for both teams that is now, it appears, going to be carrying on for quite some time, which, to your point, Tim, is excellent for the league when you have natural rivalries develop like this.
Yeah. One other thing I wanted to know from this game, I thought the moment where Dallas won this game it was about 4.5 minutes left in the second quarter. Obviously, they're about to go on that big run, and OKC takes out Jalen Williams. They go small ball with Kenrich Williams at center, and Dallas does not bend. They keep Daniel Gafford out there. Obviously, Gafford, ended up picking up 2 early fouls, wasn't as effective to start the third, and then very quickly got fouls and wasn't seen much the rest of the game. But I thought it was so important that Dallas was able to capitalize on big ball against OKC small ball. We've seen so many times that opponents playing OKC ends up playing their style. They end up playing small. They end up taking out their centers. You saw that even with Cleveland last night, that they were, didn't feel at times that they were able to play Jared Allen or even Mobley, not to the extent that this team usually would. So for Dallas to keep Daniel Gafford in there, and he's someone we talked on the pregame show about how there are going to be challenges on the defensive end for him, when there are just all shooters out there. And of course, it would have been more difficult if Shea was breaking down the first line of the defense more consistently earlier in the shot clock. That would have been a difficult thing. But it's still difficult. This is a team with shooters, with talent, with drivers. And so for Dallas to stick with that and then to see the benefits of that, I think was the moment where Dallas really, truly won the game. Obviously, with that lead that they took into halftime, it would have been tough to survive, the offense really, coming to a halt there for a while in the third without that lead. So easily for me, that's what stood out. And it's something that, if Dallas is going to be playing a smaller version of OKC, or even if a fully healthy versions of this roster meet in the playoffs, and I still, I wonder if OKC would try small ball, if Dallas can win the big advantage, even when OKC has their bigs out there. So a lot of time. That's a long ways away, but I thought that was the tipping point tonight.
The Mavericks during that point holding the Thunder over 3.5 minutes without a basket, engaging with what would eventually be a 22-4 run to eventually lead 59-41, eventually taking what would be a 20-point lead into halftime, which would be their biggest lead of the game. So a lot of moving parts and a lot of good things from the Mavericks tonight to be able to get this win. Tim, anything else before we let you go here on this Friday evening?
I think that's it. Fellas.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate you reporting as always, and have a good weekend. Enjoy the couple of days off, and we will talk to you Monday morning here on the DLLS Mavs pregame show as the Mavericks
7 a.m.
Happy holidays.
Not quite at all.
Good afternoon. I like your shoes.
See you, Tim. That is our Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato reporting live from the American Airlines Center.
Michael Matthews in the chat astutely says he's a Thunder fan. Y'all acting like we didn't have SGA out and both bigs out. We still almost beat you guys. I'm sorry. I must have missed the part where Luka played tonight. Cope, buddy.
And respectfully, I don't give a damn. Respectfully. Every team's dealing with injuries. Your team dealt with an injury tonight. This team has been dealing with injuries like crazy.
Oh, my God. January's been the month from hell.
It feels like it's been 2 years, and we are just midway through January. So, respectfully, I don't care. Coming up next here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show, we'll be joined live from the American Airlines Center by our national NBA insider, Marc Stein. By the way, over 300 people watching us live right now.
Let's go.
We'll be joined by our national NBA insider, Marc Stein, coming up next year on the DLLS Mavs postgame show.
But first, to the more than 300 of you psycho basketball-obsessed freaks hanging out with us at 11:11. First off, make a wish on a Friday night. Hey, thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for chatting. Even the Thunder fans, even the Mavs haters, even the Mavs fans that still think Jason Kidd sucks because the Mavs didn't win by 40 tonight. They only won by 8. Hey, we appreciate you hanging out with us. We appreciate you chatting, commenting, watching, liking, subbing, sharing the stream. Hey, if you're subbed on Spotify or iTunes, we really appreciate you. If you want to take your support for what we're doing one step further, there's going to be a QR code at some point beneath me that you can scan. I'll get to that.
Let him cook, Tanner.
There's the QR code. There's the link in the description below, or alldlls.com/diehard, where you can become a diehard for less than $7 a month. You can read all the premium written content on our site. We're covering all the 4 major pro teams in town, with more on the way. You also get a free shirt when you sign up and a discount on any other merch you want. You get to join the DLS Discord server. You also get a physical diehard card, and you get a discount on events. And that last one is key because we are having our first event February 6th. We're having a little watch party at Cosm. That is up in the Colony, which is kind of nearby Dallas. If you're down here, you know where the Colony is. Cosm is really cool. It's like it's hard to describe. It's like watching sports in IMAX. It's really, really cool. I haven't been myself. I know a bunch of people that have gone and love it. So it is a ticketed thing. The link to buy tickets exists. I think we're going to put that in the chat here shortly. I'm really overwhelming Tanner right now. I'm giving Tanner way too much to think about. I'm sorry, Tanner. But the link to that is going to be in the chat. And if you are a diehard, it's you buy the tickets through our website, through alldls.com. If you're logged in as a diehard, then you get 20% off the cost of tickets. And you want to act fast because, first off, the game is coming up soon. And also, seats are very, very, and I cannot stress this enough, very limited. So act fast.
And come join us at Cosm to watch the Mavericks take on the Boston Celtics. Again, alldlls.com. Become a diehard member today for less than $7 a month. Fill out that physical diehard card as well. Join our DLLS Sports family. Over 13,400 strong in terms of our subscribers here at DLLS Sports. Make sure you support any way that you can. Mavericks get it done at the American Airlines Center, 106-98 over the Western Conference's best team, Oklahoma City Thunder, as the Mavericks snap their 3-game losing streak. They will be back on the floor on Monday morning on Martin Luther King Day, as we welcome in our national NBA insider live from the American Airlines Center. You can find him on X at the Stein line. He, of course, is Marc Stein. Marc, what's going on?
Hi, guys. How are you?
What's up, Marc?
Doing well. Shout out to the over 300 live strong watching us right here on the post-game show. Sincerely appreciate you all here. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to DLLS Sports. Marc, your thoughts on what was a game full of runs, an eventful night, too much FaceTime for James Washington, in my humble opinion, but at the same time, PJ Washington does it once again in helping out the Mavericks in a big win at home tonight.
Exhaustingly long with all the replays and referee interventions, indeed, no question. But I did not catch the pregame show, I must admit, but I'm guessing there weren't too many Mavs win predictions tonight that were thrown down. Not too many guarantees, I would imagine. So
you're the only one that does guarantees on this show. Okay, that's your bit.
Obviously, no SGA changed the calculus for the Thunder, but what do we say about the Mavs in their current state? When yes, they did win, they also lost 2 more players to injury. So you know what? No apologies, no quibbling, no nitpicking. Like, they will take a win in any form it comes. Obviously, that third quarter was agonizing to see that 20-point lead just erased. But they found a way to steady themselves, get through it. Couple late triples from Spencer Dinwiddie to seal it.
Catch and shoot, Dinwiddie. Catch and shoot. Great.
We're good with that.
No complaints.
We're good with that.
A win, like I said, they weren't. I didn't sense a lot of optimism organization-wide before this game, even with the Thunder coming here on the second night of a back-to-back. So to find a way, yes, there was no SGA, but no Luka or Lively on the other side either. So the Mavs will gratefully take it and try to start getting over what happened Wednesday night, because that was an emotion. That was emotionally painful, no doubt about it.
Can you walk us through a little bit prior to the game of what was happening with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? Because we had heard that he came into the arena with a sore right wrist. At one point, he was deemed to be on the bench, not starting, but then eventually ruled out for the game entirely and not playing tonight. What was playing out half an hour, 45 minutes before the game to get to where SGA wound up not playing?
I don't know that I have a lot of clarity to add to it. I mean, it's pretty much the way you laid it out. I mean, he went from active and not starting to not playing at all. And again, I don't think anybody on the home side was terribly broken up about it. I actually, we got a post-game visit to the interview room from the Knife. And so that was entertaining, and ducked in there. And I had a chance to ask him, like, a loss like Wednesday's, how hard is it to turn the page when, you felt like a win was snatched from you? And, he admitted that because New Orleans is his place, the last team he played for, that it's even harder to get over. But again, I think they are just so giddy to escape this thing and to have blown the whole 20-point lead and still find a way to win, that there's a pretty big sense of relief from the home side of the locker rooms down here at floor level at the AAC, because again, you saw what the Thunder did to the Cavs last night, and saw what they're capable of even without SGA, as swiftly as they erased that 20-point deficit. So this is a win, but again, a costly one too. I mean, I think they're on some level, the Mavs are shaking their heads. They can't believe, like, Hardy's out, and before they can even process that, then they're losing Dwight Powell. Like, they now have 2 days off before the matinee game on Dr. Martin Luther King Day on Monday. I think they would like to have a practice before they get on the flight to New Orleans, but then you have to look at it, to Charlotte, my bad. But then you have to look at it and say, would they even have enough bodies to get through a practice when, still no Luka, not sure about Lively. Obviously, Kyrie is managing the back issue. He's not going to be practicing. Now, Hardy and Powell take knocks tonight. I mean, it's just one thing after another, so.
The injuries continue to pile up for this team, unfortunately, and it's been kind of one of the defining storylines throughout the course of the season for Dallas, is the amount of injury adversity that they're dealing with. Obviously, you mentioned one of them in terms Derek Lively. Has there been any recent update with him, or are the Mavericks just taking it day by day with him still as he continues to deal with that ankle injury?
I mean, he was ruled out for today, and no great amount of clarity there either. Maybe that will come to light. We'll get a better handle on that with 2 days off before Monday's game. At least they now have a little bit of breathing space before the next two. Again, they'll when they came back from New Orleans yesterday, it was what they referred to as a blackout day in the gym, where they really try to just keep everybody out of the gym and away from the job for a day. And maybe they'll get together for some semblance of a shooting session before they get on the plane to Charlotte on Sunday, and then they'll come back and have a little bit more rest than normal. They'll get back at a fairly early time Monday to have a little bit of rest before the Wolves get here on Wednesday. So I think this team will gratefully take any kind of scheduling break it can muster at this point, because we still got a long way to go in this month. I mean, this is the longest month of the NBA season, and the Mavs feel every ounce of it.
Hey, Marc, this is the first time that OKC's been here. If I'm not mistaken, I think you've seen them play maybe in Vegas earlier this year or something. I feel like you've seen them, but
I have not.
Oh, it's your first time. Okay, perfect. Then this is even better question. What is it like to watch them defend from the court level? Because these guys are
some demons,
maniacs out there, man.
Yeah.
Like what is it like to see these guys defend the way they do?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody talks about that with OKC, that you talk about how many draft picks they've stockpiled and just the amount of young talent that they have. But yeah, I mean, these guys defend you before you get off the bus. And I mean, look, Donovan Mitchell, I think if my math's right here, Donovan Mitchell shot 6 for 31 in the 2 games.
Whew.
The Cavs just played against the Thunder, and it's amazing. Cleveland 34-6. I think they're doing fine, but it was interesting after they got walloped last night to hear Kenny Atkinson, their coach, basically admit, yeah, length on the wing bothers us. He admitted it. He didn't try to hide from it. And, no team has more length and disruption on the wings than OKC. I mean, they built this team with this in mind, and, they thought that they addressed their rebounding issues, but we've, both Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren obviously have missed a fair bit of time, and they still haven't seen them together really. And they put out an announcement today that they're 3 to 5 weeks at least away from getting a firmer handle on Holmgren's return. So Hartenstein will be back before that, but we haven't really even seen the full Thunder yet. And look, they have been the best team in the West. Halfway through the season, there is no discussion, no debate. Houston and Memphis have been great stories, but I don't think anyone is putting the Rockets or the Grizzlies on that same tier. And then everybody else although I have to say the Nuggets are starting to put it together. They're back on a 50-win pace. Jokic has played probably the best ball we've ever seen from him, but there were so many issues with the rest of the team, but Denver's really got it rolling now. So I would say I still, because of Jokic, because of their experience, I think outside of Oklahoma City, I'd have to put Denver as really my number 2 in the West right now, no matter what the standings say. And the Mavs, you just can't judge the Mavs right now. You can't judge them until we get more clarity on when we will see Luka. Can Kyrie continue to manage the back injury? And, I just think that evaluation of the Mavs is probably going to have to wait until after the All-Star break, when we can see these guys, if they can find some extended health after the All-Star break.
Before we continue with our National NBA Insider, Marc Stein, we want to thank our television audience for joining us here on the DLLS Mavs podcast. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to DLLS Sports, and visit all DLLS to become a diehard member today for less than $7 a month. And remember, the Mavericks got the 106-98 win over the Oklahoma City Thunder. We will have our pregame show beginning at 10:30 a.m. on Monday morning as the Mavericks take on the Charlotte Hornets. As we continue here with our national NBA insider, Marc Stein, the Mavericks win 106-98 over the Oklahoma City Thunder, snapping their 3-game losing streak, snapping the Thunder's 4-game winning streak. The Thunder came into tonight's game having won 19 of their last 20. No shade, Gilgeous-Alexander for the Oklahoma City Thunder, but Kyrie Irving scoring 25 points tonight to help out the Mavericks in a win. Marc, as the Mavericks now get ready to have the next couple of days before they take on the Charlotte Hornets on Monday, the NBA going to be dubbing what is called Rivals Week coming up here. The difficult stretch continues for Dallas. After Monday against Charlotte, they take on Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves, who got a big win on the road tonight over the New York Knicks, and then they take on the Oklahoma City Thunder again, and then the Boston Celtics. So as good of a win this is, the Mavericks cannot rest because the hits will continue to keep on coming in a difficult January for this team.
Yeah, that's why this is, such a, again, there's a palpable sense of relief in the halls because, dealing with Oklahoma City, even with the Thunder on a second night of a back-to-back, they didn't know when they got here that SGA wouldn't be playing, and that made this a winnable game, and they got the win. And look, Charlotte, Minnesota at home, Thunder on the second night of a back-to-back. I know Boston's been struggling, but
they beat down the Magic tonight.
Mavericks, that's I think out of those 4 games, I think Dallas would happily take a 2-2 split if they can manage it. Can can they take care of Charlotte? Now, Charlotte lost Brandon Miller tonight. Brandon Miller's had a sensational second season. So, he sustained a wrist injury, and they will be without him. So that should theoretically make a win in Charlotte more plausible. But, yeah, Minnesota, OKC away, Boston at home, early tip on national TV. None of that none of that sounds good.
I'm excited to see LaMelo Ball play. He's going to be an all-star this year. He's had a phenomenal year.
He literally just does whatever he wants.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
I don't want to burst your bubble. I wouldn't put him in the all-star game yet.
Ooh.
Got the for sure. But remember, that's only 50% of the equation. The players and the media votes, I don't know if either one of those can actually get LaMelo Ball selected as a starter, and I don't see the coaches voting him in because of Charlotte's record. So, look, his popularity in the public sphere, nobody can say anything about it. I mean, his vote total jumps off the page every time the league, 3 straight Thursdays, the league has put out the all-star voting leaders, and he's led the East every step of the way. But now that fan voting is only 50% of the equation, it's going to be interesting to see if he actually can he get enough of a player or media push. And I got to be honest, I'm struggling to see it.
Marc, I am not one to actually. Never mind. I am one to say conspiracies exist. I think, given his brother has the most popular song in the world right now, I think the NBA is going to find a way to get LaMelo to. Where's the All-Star game this year?
In the Bay.
In the Bay.
San
They're
Francisco.
going to find a way to get LaMelo Ball to the Bay. What do you think?
So you're suggesting that they're going to fake the funk on the player and or media vote?
Okay, you said that. I did not say that. Those are your words for the record. Maybe. Maybe. But I didn't say that. I'm just asking questions.
He's trying to just ask the hard-hitting questions. Anything else from your notebook before we let you go on this Friday night as the Mavericks get ready to take on Charlotte on Monday?
No, I'm heading to the dungeon for the next 2 days to write a lot of NBA trade season stuff. And something tells me Monday you guys are going to want to just talk about trade stuff.
Oh, my.
Oh.
Where can people find the stuff that you're going to produce while you're in the dungeon?
All on the Substack. the Stein line, Marc Stein, one word, MARCSTEIN.substack.com. I'll have a piece. Jake Fisher will have a piece. And even Monday we might have something too. Who knows? So
Oh my. Okay. I got a little something to look forward to this weekend.
Okay.
yeah, plenty of trades. Yeah, I mean this time of season, there's this time of the year, it's just gotta work the phones.
It's called a professional tease in the business. We might have to get Jake Fisher on the show at some point down the road as well, doing good work alongside Marc Stein. Marc, as always, we appreciate the reporting. Have a good weekend, and we will talk to you on. I'm sorry.
I see 300 something of our friends are in here. Like, give me the chat vibe tonight,
dude. We've achieved immortality. That's the best way to sum up the chat tonight. It has just been vibes are at an all-time high. People love PJ Washington.
They do.
People love PJ Washington, and yeah, it's just great. It's greatness.
Is that true? Nobody's mad. Everybody's happy.
There were some Mavs fans that were upset that
Thunder fans weren't too thrilled about it either. But
yeah, but that the Mavs led by 20 and then didn't win by 20. There were a lot of Mavs fans that were really upset with that. Jason Kidd isn't everyone's favorite Mavericks head coach right now.
He did call that timeout with like a minute left in the third quarter, though, so he did do that.
He did call his timeouts tonight. I gotta hand it to him.
He did do that.
Are we still your favorite guys covering your favorite team?
That's regardless.
Well, I hope so.
Win or lose, that is regardless.
How about this? We're your favorite guys covering your favorite PJ Washington.
Especially this guy. Especially this guy.
PJ Oklahoma.
That's right.
Damn right, Marc Stein. You have a good weekend, sir. We'll talk to you on Monday.
All right. Talk soon.
Bye, Marc.
Right. That's our National NBA insider, Marc Stein. Good enough to join us live from the American Airlines Center. Bobby, as we put a bow on this one, a good win for a Dallas team that needed it. They get ready to go on the road to take on Charlotte on Monday before they begin yet another difficult week of games we mentioned with Minnesota, Oklahoma City again, and then, of course, the Boston Celtics. But they needed to get this dub tonight, regardless of the circumstances. They found a way, and that's all that you can ask for in this league.
Yeah, there's no regardless of circumstances. I don't care who played or who didn't play because we know all the guys that didn't play for the Mavs. We've watched all these guys that are getting 35 minutes for the last month and a half that shouldn't be. It happens in the NBA. All you can do is control what you do on the floor, and this game turned into a bloodbath. But, hey, we learned the Mavs are up for the fight, and as the great Beard Meets Food once posited to the camera, what good is bringing a second pair of underwear if you're not going to use them? This game got dirty, and the Mavs rose to the occasion, and they got dirty, and they pulled out a win. And that's all there is to say. I don't care who didn't play for either team. A win is a win is a win. It's going to feel great in the win column. It's going to look great in the win column. And, on to Charlotte. That's right. First off, on to the weekend.
Yes,
all right?
First the weekend.
Most importantly.
Yeah, 6 straight days. We've been cooking for 6 straight days here on the DLLS Mavs pregame show, postgame show, and regular podcast.
2 days off, baby, and I'm going to love every single second of them.
Same. I'm going to enjoy the NFL playoffs this weekend. Hell of a weekend in the division round. If you're an NFL fan, this weekend is for you, especially on the AFC side of things. A hell of a weekend in the divisional side of things. And then on Monday, not only do we have the Mavericks taking on the Charlotte Hornets, we got the national championship game as well between the Ohio State and Notre Dame. Winner will be crowned national champion.
I will not be tuning in
for 2025. I won't be watching either. You know why? Because I will be down the street at the American Airlines Center for Monday Night Raw live on Netflix. Taking my wife, taking my daughter. We're going to take in some WWE as it is officially WrestleMania, Royal Rumble season, WrestleMania season. So looking forward to settling down this weekend, watch some good football, and then working early in the morning, and then going to the American Airlines Center for some professional wrestling.
Let's go.
I'm coming up on Monday.
Thanks to Game Time.
That's right. Thanks to Game Time. Shout out to Game Time. Let's go.
Hey, shout out to all of you.
Relax, Ben.
Let's get like 15 more. Is there really a stat? No, there's not.
No, it's not. Relax, Ben.
off.
And if it is, put that thing on a Google Meet or something, or a Zoom call or something.
Have one of those AI bots take notes for me. Hey, I just put the link in the chat again for the oh my God, spit it out, for the watch party at Cosm, Feb 6, Mavs at Celtics. Diehards get a 20% discount. If you click the link, you log into your account on our website, the discount automatically applies. If you're not a diehard, you're more than welcome. Feb 6, Mavs Celtics, 6:30 p.m. We will see you there. And that's also trade deadline Thursday, and we got some stuff planned for earlier that day as well. Just you wait. It is going to be a big old bonanza.
Shout out to Luke. I see you, Luke. We love some Rhea Ripley around here. Trust me, we love some Rhea Ripley, the WWE Women's World Champion. Also, I want to forget about TNA. TNA's got a big pay-per-view this weekend here in Dallas as well, in Garland, Texas. Actually.
I believe you.
So there you go. Shout out to all the professional wrestling as well. Mavericks get it done, 106-98 over the Oklahoma City Thunder. Y'all have yourselves a hell of a weekend. We'll be back here on Monday for our pregame show at 10:30 a.m. Mark your calendar, 10:30 a.m. Monday morning, Tanner. Get your coffee, get your breakfast. 10:30 a.m. Game time is at 11 on Martin Luther King Day. That's right. That's right. That was earlier. So join us at 10:30 a.m. on the DLLS Mavs pregame show. Mavericks get it done over the Oklahoma City Thunder. And we'll talk to you on Monday for our National NBA Insider, Marc Stein, our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato. That is our Mavericks analyst, Bobby Curl. I'm your host, Kevin Gray. We are DLLS Mavs, your favorite guys covering your favorite team. Mavericks get it done. We'll talk to you on Monday. Y'all be good. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.